After the crown, came the crown's weight. In the days following their coronation, King Kyung-hoon and Queen Jeolmi were thrust into an overwhelming flurry of responsibilities. From dawn till well past dusk, their lives became a ceaseless cycle of council meetings, foreign correspondences, palace restructuring, and endless decisions. They rarely even had the time to eat together, let alone hold hands in peace. And though they'd won the crown, it was clear that there was a lot of work to be done. The kingdom was starving. Reports poured in from villages across the land, fields drying, harvests failing, families sharing bowls between them. But inside the palace walls and among the houses of nobles, there was no such struggle. Palace granaries were stocked, and the noble estates of Jin Suk and his allies were bursting with food. Worse still, whispers emerged, food was being hoarded, locked away and even sold across the borders to rival nations in exchange for weapons and favors. It all came to a head in a tense royal council meeting. Kyung-hoon sat on the throne, expression sharp and cold. "We cannot ignore the suffering of our people," Kyung-hoon declared, his voice echoing through the hall. "From this moment, all palace stores shall be opened. Grains and seeds are to be distributed freely to the farmers. And any noble caught hoarding or trading food outside the kingdom will be investigated and tried accordingly." Gasps rippled across the room. Jin Suk immediately spoke, face flushed. "Your Majesty," he said through gritted teeth, "while your compassion is admirable, this kingdom survives because of balance. We cannot throw open the gates." "You've already opened the gates," Kyung-hoon cut in coldly, "to your own profit. But not for the people." Jin-moo added his voice, but Kyung-hoon raised a hand. "I will not be interrupted. This meeting is not for bargaining, it is for reform. And that is not up for debate." Then Kyung-hoon leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "In addition," he continued, "any citizen who has lost a loved one, whether due to raids, disappearances, or mysterious arrests, may submit a report. A full royal investigation will be launched into every case." That declaration sent a chill down the noble ranks. It was a direct shot at the underground operations Jin Suk had run for years. Later that day, a furious Jin Suk stormed into the secluded estate of former King Jang. The older man sat calmly in the pavilion, sipping tea as if the kingdom hadn't been set ablaze. "You old bastard," Jin Suk hissed. "You made him king just to drag me down, didn't you? King Jang didn't even look up." Jin Suk continued harshly. "You think this is a game? The Ean Empire won't sit back. As we speak, they prepare to strike. And when they move, he will fall. And so will you." King Jang exhaled slowly. "Do what you will. My days of fearing you and that damn Ean Empire ended when I stepped down. I have been your puppet long enough that I never knew peace, but my son won't be like me. He has more strength and won't cower because of you." Jin Suk turned, cape swishing, rage simmering in every step. "Then I will make sure your son never knows peace." And with that, the war in silence grew louder. In the early afternoon, the sun glistened over the polished marble tiles of the palace courtyard, where dozens of noblewomen, young daughters of ministers, and wives of high-ranking officials gathered in a flurry of silk and perfume. They came bearing gifts, silks from the east, rare oils from the desert region, gold-threaded robes, and delicate jewelry, to congratulate the newly instated queen consort Jeolmi and royal concubine Min Seo. Ji Yun, dressed in an elegant pale cream robe embroidered with phoenix patterns, sat tall and composed. Behind him was So Hee, who wore a simpler but respectable hanbok. Min Seo sat a short distance away, regal in appearance but clearly tense. The women bowed in turn, offering their congratulations with practiced smiles. Then came Mrs. Jean, Min Seo's aunt, accompanied by a few other noblewomen known for their sharp tongues and sharper ambitions. "Oh my," Mrs. Jean said, feigning sweetness as she stepped forward, she and her face twisted as they surveyed the newly renovated queen's quarters, "we never imagined the queen consort would be so delicate. I suppose the palace has new tastes these days." Her companions giggled behind their fans. Another added, "It's quite impressive, really. To go from being a mere merchant's daughter to queen so swiftly. Though, in status, she will always be nothing compared to Lady Min Seo." So he bristled instantly. "How dare you?" she snapped. "You speak to the queen of this kingdom." But Ji Yun gently raised a hand, stopping her. He offered the women a pleasant smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I may not have been born into nobility," he said, his voice calm and clear, "but last I checked, it is I who sits beside the king. It is I who holds the seal of the queen. And it is I who determines who is welcome in this palace." His gaze turned sharp. "So let me remind you all, next time you think to gather yourselves and run your mouths, I will advise that you reconsider." The laughter died. Mrs. Jean's face burned red, her fingers tightening around her silk fan. Ji Yun turned slightly, giving them one final look. "I will appreciate if you don't come to my quarters next time without my summons. You may leave now." The women bowed stiffly, their pride wounded, and shuffled away. Min Seo lingered, about to leave with her maids, when Ji Yun's voice called after her. "Lady Min Seo, wait." She paused, clearly irritated, and turned slowly. Ji Yun walked closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "You don't look well. And you haven't said a word since the wedding. Are you alright?" Min Seo looked away. "Why do you care?" Ji Yun blinked. "Because despite everything, we're in this palace together. And I am curious. You have always wanted this life, married to the king, living in the palace. But you don't seem happy." Her jaw clenched. "Maybe because I am not." Min Seo continued bitterly, "You are queen. You sit above me. You have the king's love. You have everything, and I have nothing." Ji Yun's voice softened. "You think I have everything, but you know nothing about the real weight I carry." She scoffed. "What could you possibly be burdened with?" "I don't want to fight you, Min Seo. I'm simply saying, we don't have to be enemies. We may never be friends, but for the sake of peace in this palace, we can try not to tear each other apart." But Min Seo's expression twisted with resentment. "Don't act like you're the better person. I have no intention of living peacefully with someone who took everything from me." And with that, she turned on her heel and stormed off, her maid scrambling to follow. Ji Yun stood in silence, his expression unreadable. "Son," he frowned. "She should be grateful that you are trying to offer a truce." "How rude." Just then, a palace servant approached cautiously, bowing low. "Your Majesty. There is someone requesting an audience with you. They await you in the grand hall." Ji Yun went to the hall, surprised, and then delighted, when he saw the person waiting for him. "Jun Ho!" he exclaimed, a rare, genuine smile lighting up his face. Jun Ho, dressed modestly in his usual blue silk robe, grinned and opened his arms. Ji Yun didn't hesitate to step forward and embrace him tightly. "I brought you something," Jun Ho said, pulling back and handing him a small wrapped bundle. Ji Yun opened it, his brows rising with surprise. Inside was a small stick of candied plums, his favorite as a child. "I can't believe you remembered," Ji Yun murmured, touched. "Of course I did," Jun Ho said with a soft smile. "It's your birthday tomorrow. But I figured with your royal schedule, you'd probably forget." Ji Yun chuckled. "You're right. I had completely forgotten. I haven't had time to visit. I wanted to say." "Congratulations," Jun Ho continued, his expression shifting slightly. "You're queen now. I also wanted to apologize to you. I was angry before, and jealous. I shouldn't have threatened to expose you just to tie you with me. I'm sorry for that." Ji Yun's smile faded, replaced by a gentle, understanding look. "That's fine. I have already forgotten it." Behind a decorative pillar, Kyung Hoon, on his way back from a meeting with his advisors, had paused when he saw Ji Yun. He meant to approach, but something stopped him. He remained where he was, his guards lingering at a respectful distance, as he listened. Jun-ho looked down for a moment, then sighed. My father divorced my mother. Ji Yun's heart sank. What? Jun-ho nodded. He found out she was the one who told the queen about your identity. He was furious. He said he couldn't live with someone so selfish, someone who endangered the peace of the palace. Ji Yun exhaled, heavy with regret. I am sorry. It's okay. It was a long time coming anyway. Jun-ho hesitated, his expression growing serious. Ji Yun, I need to ask you something. Ji Yun looked at him, quietly listening. Are you happy? The question caught him off guard. Jun-ho continued, eyes steady. I mean truly happy. You seem to have it all, but you're living a life where you can't be yourself. You have to keep pretending, disguising who you are, even now, even as queen. You've buried Ji Yun for Jiaomi. Are you really okay with this? Will you be okay like this forever? Ji Yun's lips parted, but no words came. He looked down, the question sinking deep into his chest like a weight he wasn't ready to carry. From a distance, Kyung-hoon's heart clenched. He had hoped Ji Yun was happy. He thought he was enough. But that silence pierced through him like a blade. Without a word, Kyung-hoon turned and walked away, his steps heavy. Later that evening, in a quieter wing of the palace, Sunhee balanced a folded bundle of royal garments in her arms as she moved briskly down the corridor toward Ji Yun's chambers. Turning a corner, she nearly collided with Min Suk, who caught her just in time. He also saved her clothes from falling off. Oh. My apologies, she said quickly, looking up, and immediately catching the soft, dreamy expression on his face. Min Suk grinned. Where are you off to in such a hurry? Sunhee raised an eyebrow. To the queen's chambers. He chuckled and leaned a little closer, trying to be charming. You know, ever since you came, everywhere seems a lot brighter. Sunhee scoffed, adjusting the clothes in her arms. Is that how the royal guards flirt? Weak. Min Suk laughed awkwardly, holding his chest, wounded. Good. He tilted his head, playful grin fading slightly. All right, then. We'll get to the point. The king summoned you. Sunhee blinked. Me? Why? No idea. He just said it's urgent. Sunhee sighed and handed the bundle to a maid walking by. Fine. Lead the way. The morning sun spilled softly into the queen's quarters, dancing across the floor as Sunhee tiptoed in, a playful grin on her face. She gently nudged Ji Yun, who was still curled beneath the silk covers. Your Majesty, she whispered, then nudged again, louder this time. Wake up. You're already late for your own celebration. Ji Yun stirred, blinking sleepily. Celebration. Sunhee tugged the curtains open, revealing the warm glow of the courtyard beyond. It's your birthday, Your Majesty. Ji Yun sat up slowly, confused. But how? Just then, his maid attendants entered through the doors with shy smiles, and greeted him cheerfully. Happy birthday, Your Majesty. Even the guards outside his quarters stood at attention and bowed in unison as he stepped out, echoing the same greeting. Ji Yun's eyes widened in surprise. The entire palace, from the corridors to the courtyard, had been beautifully transformed with streamers of golden fabric, flower petals strewn like soft carpets, and paper lanterns floating gently above. Who did all this? Ji Yun murmured, still stunned. Who else? Came a voice behind him. Kyung-hoon appeared at the entrance, dressed in simple royal blue robes, holding a small bouquet of delicate white blossoms. Happy birthday, my love, he said with a soft smile, offering him the flowers. Ji-yun blinked in disbelief, then gently took them. You did all this? Kyung-hoon nodded and extended his hand. Come. There's more. He led Ji-yun to a shaded pavilion in the garden where a beautiful breakfast spread had been prepared, bowls of warm rice porridge, savory pancakes, fruits, and a dish that instantly made Ji-yun's heart skip, spicy grilled octopus. How did you even know it was my? Ji-yun asked, touched. Kyung-hoon looked slightly sheepish as he poured Ji-yun a cup of tea. I didn't. I saw you and Jun-ho together yesterday where he mentioned it. Ji-yun froze for a second, then looked at him carefully. So that's how you found out it was my birthday. Kyung-hoon chuckled, but the tension in his smile was barely masked. Yes. And you seemed quite happy. You were practically glowing. I have never seen you smile so widely before, not even with me. Ji-yun immediately sensed it, the edge in Kyung-hoon's voice, the hint of jealousy flickering behind his gaze. He gently touched Kyung-hoon's hand. I'm sorry. I really did forget about my birthday. It's not something I usually celebrate. Kyung-hoon looked at him, puzzled. Why not? Ji-yun looked down, fiddling with the flower stems in his hand. My father never cared for birthdays. And my mother. She was always too sick. But when she could, she'd make my favorite dish and take me to the sea. When she died, I stopped celebrating altogether. A quiet beat passed between them. Kyung-hoon's jaw tightened slightly as he took Ji-yun's hand into his. Then from now on, he said gently, it'll give you memories worth holding on to. Ji-yun's eyes shimmered with quiet emotion. The moment hung tenderly between them before Kyung-hoon leaned in and pressed a soft kiss on Ji-yun's lips. The nearby maids watching from the distance blushed and quickly turned away, giggling. The warm glow of the afternoon sun bathed the small orphanage as Kyung-hoon and Ji-yun stepped through its gates, their royal robes replaced with simpler attire for the day. The moment they appeared, a loud cheer erupted from the children. The king and queen are here. One of the older boys shouted, and soon they were surrounded by a flurry of tiny feet and beaming faces. Fairy! A little girl tugged at his sleeve. You really came back. Ji-yun knelt to her level and smiled, gently tucking her loose braid behind her ear. I promised I would, didn't I? The courtyard of the orphanage buzzed with joy as the two handed out beautifully wrapped gifts, new shoes, handmade dolls, books, sweet snacks, and soft blankets. Laughter rang out like music. As the sun dipped lower, casting gold over the land, Kyung-hoon quietly took Ji-yun's hand and led him away from the laughter toward the seaside nearby. They stood silently for a while, the ocean stretching endlessly before them, the breeze lifting strands of Ji-yun's hair as he leaned into Kyung-hoon's side. Kyung-hoon wrapped his arms tightly around him from behind, pressing his cheek against Ji-yun's temple. Do you like it? He whispered. Ji-yun nodded, smiling as he looked out at the water. It's perfect. It reminds me of my mother. Just then, the sky cracked with a sudden burst of color, fireworks. Ji-yun's eyes widened in surprise as the night exploded in red, gold, and violet above them. You planned this too? He gasped. Kyung-hoon shrugged with a teasing smirk. I thought you deserved a sky that celebrated you too. Ji-yun turned toward him, deeply touched. He cupped Kyung-hoon's face and pulled him into a tender kiss. Thank you. For today. You made it feel special. Kyung-hoon looked down at him, his expression softening. You are very important to me, Ji-yun. Then, his voice grew quieter. But I also want you to know this. If one day you feel too tired, if the weight of hiding who you are becomes too heavy, if you want to walk away, I won't stop you. Ji-yun stared at him, eyes glistening. Then he slowly shook his head. Being trapped with you, he whispered, is more bearable than being free without you. Kyung-hoon let out a shaky breath, his emotions caught somewhere between sorrow and love. Then, without waiting another second, he leaned down and kissed Ji Yun deeply. The servants and guards nearby all looked away quickly, their cheeks turning red, but even they couldn't hide their smiles. Above them, the fireworks continued to paint the sky in radiant bursts, but none of them compared to the glow of the love shared between the king and his queen. The next day, in one of the quieter wings of the palace, Min Seo leaned over a basin once more, her body racked with heaves. Her face was pale and clammy, her lips trembling. For days now, the nausea hadn't stopped, and this morning, it had gotten worse. Lady Han, dressed in her usual pristine robes, paced the room with growing frustration. "This is the third time today," she snapped, her eyes narrowing. "Min Seo, this isn't nerves or indigestion. Something's wrong. Now talk to me, what's going on with you?" Min Seo looked away, gripping the edge of the table for support. "It's nothing, maybe I just ate something bad." Lady Han's eyes sharpened. She stepped closer, seizing Min Seo's wrist and feeling her pulse with the expertise of someone who'd lived too long in court politics. She went still. Then her face dropped. "No," she whispered, her lips going dry. She felt again, firmer this time, her breath hitching. "You're pregnant." Min Seo flinched, her head slowly turning. "I'm not." "You're pregnant." Lady Han repeated, backing away a step in disbelief, her hand flying to her mouth. Her voice rose with panic. "How could you be so careless, Min Seo? Do you realize what you've done?" Min Seo froze, caught like a rabbit in a snare. Her lips quivered. "I didn't plan for this," she whispered. Lady Han stared at her like she was a stranger. "Who is the father?" Min Seo clenched her hands, biting her lower lip until it almost bled. Lady Han grabbed her by the arms. "Min Seo." Min Seo broke down and muttered, "Prince Taejin." The words crashed into the room like thunder. Lady Han's legs nearly gave out. "No, no, no, no." She began pacing, muttering to herself. "What have you done, foolish girl? What have you done?" Min Seo looked up, confused by the sheer fear in the woman's face. "Why are you acting like this? What does it matter to you if it's Taejin's child?" Lady Han stopped. Her face hardened, the calculating gleam back in her eyes. "You have no idea the danger we're in. If your father Jin Suk finds out. If anyone finds out. Taejin's child. That's treason. That's death. For both of you." Min Seo swallowed, now visibly shaking. "Then what do we do?" Lady Han turned slowly to her, eyes cold with resolve. "No one will know this child belongs to Taejin," she said. Min Seo blinked. "What?" Lady Han stepped closer, grabbing Min Seo's shoulders. "This child will be the child of King Kyung-hoon. Do you understand me? You are his concubine now. You will carry this child like it is the heir to the throne. You will give birth to a prince, and we will protect your future." Min Seo's face crumpled with fear. "But I said no one must know," Lady Han hissed. "Not Taejin. Not the king. Not even your father. I will handle everything." And with that, she walked out of the room like a woman possessed, her mind already spinning with lies, plans, and masks to wear. Min Seo sank to her knees by the bed, her hand instinctively going to her stomach. The child inside her had suddenly become both her greatest secret and the most dangerous thing in the entire palace. Thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe to the channel for more episodes.